Are you ready?
Okay, good afternoon. We are Students Helping Students. We are a local nonprofit here in Lawrence. My name is Julie Levine.
I'm Brandon Ray.
Josh Rogers.
And Morgan Marceau.
Let's get started. Students Helping Students is a nonprofit organization that's sole purpose is to help students give back to other students in the community through a simple donation. We donate and recycle lightly used and unused school supplies to local students who have a harder time acquiring materials of their own. We are 100% run by local volunteers, and we are located in room 320A of Andrews Library. The materials that we accept include spiral notebooks, composition notebooks, mechanical and wooden pencils, highlighters, pens, binders, calculators, rulers and protractors, and science and lab supplies. We were interested to see where students were most likely to buy their school supplies, comparing Target, Walmart, and Home Depot. So we put out a Twitter poll on March 27th just to kind of see what the general student population said. After having this up for 24 hours, we had 45 voters, and 67% of them chose to buy from Target. We realize that the cost of school supplies can be extremely expensive and a constant uphill battle, and we do what we can to make it easier for students to get to the supplies we need. We really want students to put more focus on their education rather than school expenses. Okay, so as you can see here, comparing Walmart in blue, Target in red, and Office Depot in green, these are just kind of a visual for you guys. As you can see, Office Depot across the board has higher prices with everything. Putting it in perspective for you guys, if you buy from Target, according to the graph I just showed, you can expect to pay around $23. If you buy from Walmart, you can expect to pay around $25. And if you buy from Office Depot, you can expect to empty your pockets and pay around $36 for all of those materials. Do you guys want to get your stuff from Students Helping Students yet? Because it's only $0. Okay, so how the donations work. We encourage students to dispose of their unused and lightly used school supplies. All donations are accepted throughout the entire school year. The bins are emptied on the last Friday of every month by SHS volunteers, and all of the extra supplies are kept in our local storage unit. Reach Out Lawrence is our big donation event. It happens 3 times throughout the year. The first time is during move-in week. The second is during the first week of second semester, and the last is during finals week. During this, we encourage people to buy a little bit extra when you're getting your supplies, and come to Reach Out Lawrence and donate to other students in Lawrence who maybe can't attain those materials as easily. Monday through Fridays, all supplies are brought to room 320A of Andrews Library. That's where our office is located, and things are available for pickup between 12 and 2 p.m. There are 16 total bins around campus, 2 in each of the following places, including the Union Bookstore, Watson Library, Andrews Library, Westcote Budig, Strong, Fraser, and Capitol Federal Hall. When the donations are not being accepted during the summer, all of our supplies are kept in our storage unit and managed by SHS volunteers. Okay, so how do we get involved? SHS really needs volunteers. We run on volunteers, we don't pay anyone, we don't hire anyone. It's all about the volunteers. There are so many different opportunities for volunteering. You guys can help in our office, you can sort materials for preparation. Emptying the bins at the end of the month is a huge job. Being a carrier, the transportation of supplies is big, and volunteering at Reach Out Lawrence is huge.
Okay, so we interviewed Emma Handy, who is a philanthropy chair at Kappa Gamma, and we just talked to her about how we can get the Greek life involved in this. Each house needs 10 service hours a semester, and it can be really helpful to pair with them to get to get more volunteers and to involve the entire Lawrence community. She said this is definitely something that Kappa would get involved with.
All right, now I'm going to talk about a little bit of our advertisements, how we're going to get our message out, how we're to tell people about our NPO. First off, I'm going to start with this Instagram advertisement. So through Facebook, as Facebook owns Instagram, you can make ads. And there's no cost to make them. You just submit an ad online. To Facebook. They check in 24 hours. If they accept it and clear it, your ad can be posted online. And Instagram nowadays is very popular. So everyone who's on Instagram or Facebook, they will be able to see our NPO and reach out if they want to. Next is our local radio station. So it's a student room. And listeners tend to be 18 to 45 years old, which is a little bit out of our range. But we also want to include all ages in this NPO throughout Lawrence. For a basic package, it's $100 per month, which will give us 16 spots, which will allow us to broadcast, as we mentioned, our NPO and what we're about at least 16 times throughout the day. And we chose this radio station because it was created in 1975. It's broadcasted 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and it has pretty notable recognition. They receive other type of recognition throughout their content. Next is the Daily Kansan. So the Daily Kansan is our newspaper out here. It's the local newspaper. And we wanted to first get at it with their editor-in-chief, which is Laura Court. Laura Court is a local from Wichita, Kansas. She is class of 2019, and she received her editor-in-chief spot in September of 2015. So what we're going to do with Laura, we're going to talk to her, and I did actually talk to her, emailed her, and an ad opportunity. It's full page, one color, and the ad is $1,140. So this we'll type in our story to her, tell her what it's about. We want people to know that Students Helping Students is for students, not just in college, but all around Lawrence, and we also want them to know we're trying to get volunteers as well. So we'll put that in the paper, and that will help us get more people involved. Lastly, I'm going to talk about where our money is going to go. So we get the $25,000. We want to use that to get starting off with our bus advertisement. So a cost to print an ad and laminate on the bus is $125 according to the KU website. And with student organizations at KU, you get the first month free, and after that, annually we'll just pay $725. Next, we'll talk about our buying of bins. We can just get our bins at either Target or Walmart, and we want to get bins that are plastic bins that clamp down with the lids. We want them to be 3x5. And then our storage unit. So according to Compare Self-Storage Lawrence, a small unit, which is 5x5, we're going to get it at the public storage unit. It's going to be $47 a month, and it's going to be located on 22nd and Haskell Avenue. And then the extras, bottled water, food for volunteers. We can also get this stuff from Dylan. We have a sponsorship with them. We're able to donate some of that to us as well. So we'll get bottled water and food for volunteers and other stuff like that. And then constructing a new tomorrow, which is going to be explained a little more later.
So now my colleagues have kind of told you a little bit about our backgrounds, what we're all about, kind of the costs involved and stuff. And so I'm going to kind of go in depth more about, the statistics of what we're talking about here, dropout students who don't have the money available to buy all these supplies, as well as kind of, the how we're going to go about our change and our solution. So according to Hanson Lair in his Educational Psychology Journal, he states that as of 2009, a student dropped out of school every 9 seconds. You look at that, you look at your classmates around you, and you say, if a kid dropped out every 9 seconds in here, there would be no class. That's astonishing, and it needs to stop. It can't happen anymore. So according to Carlisha Brooks and her master's thesis for a science degree at Tennessee State University, she states that students from low socioeconomic backgrounds are 10 times more likely to drop out. In order to prevent this, what do we need to do? These kids don't have the available resources always to be able to buy all this school supplies. So we're not saying we're trying to, get all these students to not drop out. We're saying we need to start one student at a time. And if you can reach that, you build upon that. And that way you build your organization into helping more and more students. So what is our solution? Well, according to the College Board, KU students spend an average about $1,080 on school supplies each year. That's including books. We're trying to alleviate this payment because we have enough to pay for with these students that don't necessarily have the funds. With our program, they wouldn't need to have that burden on them. We would reduce that burden and make life a little bit easier for them to go about school and to get their degree and be productive members of society, which is what school's all about. So how are we going to do this? We're going to donate. We're not going to throw away. So students that, you know, at the end of the semester, at the end of the year, you have that one class that you really only use 10 pages of your spiral notebook. There's always a class like that. Well, we're trying to get those people with those classes, turn those in, give those to us, give their pens to us, give their pencils to us. You know, all that supplies that really you don't keep, give to us and we can make a change with that. Then we're also, as a part of that, trying to cut costs through this. This way these students could come in and get this for free and not have to spend that money that they don't have, which in turn gives them more focus on their schooling and their degree. So how are we going to incorporate our organization with the overall broad goal of recycling? So according to the University of Southern Indiana, recycling a single run of the New York Times would save 75,000 trees. I don't know about you, but that is a ton. And you look at this, people don't understand the effect they have on the environment. And we need to be more self-conscious about that. In our program, teaming up with the Rock Chalk Recyclers, which is a program organized in 2014 here at KU that cleans up sporting events around KU, such as your volleyball, your track, your baseball, softball. They come in and they're at that sporting event, they clean it up, which in turn gives the area a cleaner outlook, gives the Lawrence community a better outlook, makes them want to join in and understand what our goal is. And we want to support their mission through recycling, and we end up donating anything that is unused, such as the pens that may not work, the spiral notebooks that may have too many pages used for us. We give it to them, so nothing is wasted. So how do we make a difference? Students Helping Students does our absolute best to involve everybody. We're not singling to the KU students here. We're trying to make a broader impact. We're trying to impact Lawrence. So we want college students, yes. We want sorority and fraternity members. We also want professors and TAs. If you look at that and say, hey, if you have a professor at the beginning of the year during syllabus week, tell everybody in the class about our organization. If you have a lecture hall such as Boudig Hall, you have about 700 students. That's an automatic 700 people reached in one lecture. That's huge. We also want retired members of the Lawrence community. These are people that we need to get involved and would love to be involved and make it more inclusive. And we also want Lawrence families with young children. We want to get our word not only to colleges, but to elementary schools, middle schools, high schools. We want everybody. So involving this whole community is vital in that you want to make it so that people feel important. You want to make everybody feel important, not just a sole base. We want to include all different social circles. That way we have a very diverse group and understand the needs of not just a certain group of students, but everyone. So how are we going to change KU's vibe? Well, the recycling mentality is meant to encourage people to care about their environment. So we plan to work with the Earth, Energy, and Environment Center, which is located by the engineering school here on campus, to create a program run by a partnership of their students, as well as our SHS volunteers. Our program for that school would be called Constructing a New Tomorrow. It would create environmental projects to do around the Lawrence area with the resources provided by the Earth Energy and Environment Center. We plan to run monthly news articles about the importance of benefits of recycling on campus, along with opportunities to volunteer with us. And we want to kind of accomplish a goal of, spreading this awareness of our environment and not kind of taking it for granted. We want to get people involved around the projects more and encourage people to kind of volunteer in general, just have that sense of wanting to give back for benefiting our organization or volunteering for SHS actually coming out and helping with the dispersion of the bins and everything, or rock chalk recyclers. So I've kind of talked to you about, the cost, the dropout statistics, how we're gonna go about the solution, and now I'm gonna pass off to my colleague.
Okay, so like we've talked about before, we really are interested in involving the entire Lawrence community. We think it's really important for our organization to have the support of the entirety of Lawrence, but we especially want to target the retired community. And according to the U.S. Census Bureau, 8% of Lawrence population is 65 and older. Most of these people are retired and have time on their hands, and we think it'd be really cool to get them involved working in our store, or even asking them to donate supplies to us. Okay, and we are also always looking for sponsors. Right now, Dillon's is our primary donor and sponsor. They donate our waters and snacks for our employees who are working our store in Anschutz. So this has really been helpful. We also want to get sponsored by Walmart. There is a scholarship program or a grant program that we are going to apply for. You have to apply by the end of the year, and we can get anywhere from $250 to $2,500 to help buy more supplies and, like we said, buy snacks and water for our employees. But in order to do this, we would have to be a government entity, a college, which we are, or a church, so we think that our chances of getting this scholarship are good. However, Target is ending their funding for, ending their funding for education and moving more towards a health and wellness outlook. So there are $432 million of donations that Target got that is no longer going to support education and supplies. It's all moving towards health and wellness. And this is extremely important because, like you saw in our stats, most students are shopping at Target. And Target was doing a lot with their program, like donating money to schools and donating supplies. So it's really important for us to have this program. So we are getting supplies out to you guys for free, basically. So according to Jill Davis, she's a head of parents group at Thomas Edison High School in Minneapolis. She said that high poverty schools such as Edison are not as likely to get as much from the program as more affluent suburban schools where parents are more likely to have a red card and spend more money at Target. So these underfunded schools are losing so much of the help that they were getting from Target, and she wishes that they would put more focus on these schools rather than their health and wellness program. So we would also like to start sister groups. We would love to connect with other nonprofits around the country that want to implement similar practices, and we think that since social media and technology is so prevalent today that we could reach like a bigger audience and hopefully meet up with other organizations like us that have the same passion and the same idea. we found this organization called Crowns to Classrooms. It's in Ohio. They target students who live at or below poverty level, and they originally started with 8 schools, and now they are serving up to 90 schools, and then that's about 30,000 students. So they're having a huge impact on their community. They have come up with $12.2 million in school supplies, so we would love to work with them and learn from them. So hopefully we will be able to connect with 4 to 6 other sister groups around the country and hold monthly meetings to discuss what's going on in our organization, talk about problems we're facing, talk about what's going good, how we can work together, how we can continue to grow our programs. So we are Students Helping Students, and we'd love for you guys to get involved, donate school supplies that you aren't using at the end of the semester, and then if you'd like, come volunteer at our store in Anschutz.
Questions for this group? All right, thanks guys. How long was it? It was 21